So we'll
what's
see how
our
it goes.
third subject tonight?
Well, like I said, it's really, this is a very contentious time in the country, and
I noticed.
this is all about voting. So this whole show's about voting, and and so now we have a big deal where we have Obamacare, which is the
law of the land,
the president's signature legislation.
The Affordable Care Act.
Right, and then the budget. So those are kind of at loggerheads, and to kind of frame the what it's come down to now, there's some bouncing back and forth, but basically, what Republicans are saying is that, the administration gave maybe 1,000 exclusions. Now, people say, well, was it really 1,000 exclusions to businesses and unions? Well, technically it was 1,000 exclusions, but those were kind of mainly to businesses and unions.
Yeah, and unions.
Who got
hundreds. Word you left out was unions.
No, but they get hundreds apiece. Yeah. And basically what they're saying is like, well, it's just so hard for them to switch. We're going to give them a year reprieve.
Well, wait a minute. See, that was the business mandate. That was part of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
So they gave a 1-year extension on that part.
They gave them a
business
reprieve.
mandate.
They gave them a reprieve.
A reprieve for 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay, and they did that because allegedly so many poor innocent businesses and unions just couldn't get it together in time by October of this year. So.
Well, more than that.
Wait a minute.
What
about the individual mandate?
Their plans. Well, the individuals don't have any real.
They don't have any rights, right?
Well, they don't have. They don't really have the lobbyists, So
they don't have the lobbyists,
and so they're not really. It doesn't really matter. But so the thing is, those are health insurance plans that really wouldn't have worked out at this timing. So they got. And also, if you work for Congress or you work for the executive branch, you also get a reprieve. So what's great about it
it's not just a reprieve. Isn't it a supplemental payment that's completely different than the rest of us get as individuals?
Yeah, you get a different deal. So
you get a different deal.
So did we
vote on that?
So the people, the executive branch who wanted this, and the Congress who voted for it, they're
excluded.
They're immune. They have immunity, and then the unions who pretty much delivered the votes, and the businesses that did the contributions, they get immunity. So the only people who are being helped by this law.
We're all being helped.
We're by the people who are against it.
But I have a question.
So that's funny.
Don't you need the business mandate, and don't you need everybody to contribute to the system so the system supports itself? Isn't that what the idea was? The system would be self-generating. That was the big sales job. Oh, we're going to self-generate the entire amount to run the Affordable Care Act.
Well,
so what happens now?
It's either that or you have to up the debt limit. I mean,
up the debt limit.
I think that's a simpler way of running it. To
fund the Affordable Care Act, we have to up the debt limit.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, but by how much?
There's never enough.
I don't know. When you call your Visa company and you say, hey, by the way, I know I have a debt of 10 grand, but you know what? Give me 15 because I need to spend some more. You know why? Because it's just the way it has to be.
Well, if you look if you look at us, I think we're really, we're about 140%, 130-40%. It's hard to figure it out because different people have numbers for GDP. But let's say the United States is about 130-40%, our debt to, income ratio.
Debt ratio.
Debt ratio. I think Switzerland's like 25%. No. And people go, well, wait a minute, you're the richest country in the world. You can afford to give away free stuff. But we're not. We're more in debt than Greece was when they went under. So we used to be rich a few years ago, but we're not anymore.
Well, just that's funny, Mark, because it's not so much that somehow we don't have any money. We have large volumes of money coming in on a daily basis. 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 billion by the second is rolling into the government. The problem is we're spending 1.5 times that as fast as we get it.
Well, that might be a little bit of an underestimate because we bring in $3 trillion a year, and then the deficit's about $1 trillion. But then we've got quantitative easing, we're printing money, and if you start really throwing all that kind of stuff in, and then you've got unfunded liabilities, and then it really starts to skyrocket. So the number could be quite a bit more. I don't know if you may be talking about. We bring in $3 trillion and we're spending much more than that.
But where are we getting the extra money, Mark?
We're printing a lot of it.
And aren't we borrowing a lot of it?
And we borrow a lot of it.
But that's like calling your credit card company and saying, I want to extend my debt. Oh, by the way, you can trust me. My income is not enough to pay my current debt, but now I want to borrow some more. I want to increase my debt. So you're trying to tell me that's what we're doing?
We have enough. There's enough receipts coming in to pay the interest on the debt.
pay the interest on the debt.
So there's no problem
That's like
with that.
paying that revolving credit card bill when it says you owe 10 grand, but your monthly payment is $450.
So that's.
But you're not paying the principal.
So that's what we're coming up on October 17th. Is that, they're going to say, well, are we going to up the credit limit? And they say, well, we'll default if we don't. Well, yeah, you could default. It's kind of like, say you had a credit card, right, and you had to pay whatever it was, $50 a month on your credit card, and you're making whatever you're making, $10,000 a month, right?
Right.
And you go, okay, well, I'm going to spend $10,000 in Vegas, I'm going to $10,000 for my friends, and I do this, but I'm not going to pay that $50, right? So yeah, we could default if we acted like that.
Yeah, but
if we actually.
We're supposed to be mature, more mature than that.
If we actually did our interest payment as the very last thing we did, yeah, we could default, but you have to try pretty hard.
Well, what I don't understand is all the scare tactics that are going on in the news today. I just don't know what to listen to anymore because 1, we're going to default. 2, we're not going to default. 3, we're making enough money. 4, we're borrowing all this money from China. 5, the debt limit, you can't raise it. And then the other side saying, we must raise it because it's been raised 40 times.
Well, it's kind of like this. I think the government shutdown and the default are pretty much the same. Let's say you have a Cadillac that you spent your $80,000 on, and you're going to drive across the desert, and you spend, $70 to clean the chrome, and you go out and buy some new CDs or Cyrus or whatever you do, and you have a car wash for $80, and you spend like $300 or $400 making your car look pretty spiffy, but you can't afford to put gas in it. When you're heading out in the middle of the desert, we can't.
Looks spiffy,
yeah, but we can't afford to put the gas in it, right? Because we don't have the money to put the gas. Well, wait a minute, because you frittered away all the money. Okay, so we spent something like $20 trillion in the last 5 years, but we can't afford to make our interest payment of a couple $100 million. Well, because we frittered away on, buying votes basically, and like different
food stamps,
whatever it is. But the thing is, we can't pay our interest because we frittered away the most money. So it's like, in a way, it's true. I mean, we've got so many other things that are more important than paying our interest, right? I mean, we don't know what those are because we never have a budget. But we know they're much important because we have an enlightened class that tells us so.
That's interesting. You just circled
we have no
back.
Idea.
You circled back to the word budget.
But we have no idea what it is.
If we had a budget,
we have no idea what's in it.
We know there'd be a concise set of numbers that we're supposed to abide by. Isn't that correct?
Well, also, you know what the line items are.
Yeah, you know what the line items
are. And so now you have these crazy Tea Partiers, Republicans, and they want
back to the bomb.
And they actually want to do, these jihadists, and they actually want to do line items and pass one line at a time and say, do you agree to pay this? Do you agree to pay it? Well, we can't do that.
Well, of course you can't do that.
Because you want to have
Because that's a psychotic idea by terrorists.
Because then you know what you're spending your money on.
Yeah, of course.
So
it's kind of
it's kind of like taking your kid to the store and you say, well, you can have one candy bar and one orange. They go, no. Either we buy everything in the store, or I'm going to starve to death. So that's where we are.
And then I'm going to throw a tantrum in the store. I'm going to be stomping up and down. My way.
So anyway, so basically we're going to starve to death. That's how it comes out.
I have a question. Don't you have to find a way to have a budget? Isn't a budget is what we're supposed to be looking at? Where is our budget, Mark?
Well, we haven't had one for a long time. I don't see. We'll see.
And why? Now, do we have to ever go back to that, or are we just forgetting the budget from here on out?
Well, apparently, it's just way too hard for taxpayers to understand a budget. So that's why they got rid of that.
Yeah, but the taxpayers aren't supposed to be the ones who are dealing with the budget. The taxpayers are supposed to
No, what I'm saying, if you had
it, they have an expectation.
No, but like say, if the taxpayers knew where their taxpayer money was going, they would be confused and upset.
Oh, confused and upset.
Yeah,
that means they can't get their welfare payments.
No, what I mean,
food stamps.
They don't.
I can't get my disability.
No, but the point is, they would be confused and upset if you give them too much information. So
you want to give
too
much information. They can be able to be a citizen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. And you know what? I'm confused and upset right now. Where's the budget?
It's all going to work out. Don't worry about it.